I want to start with agreement. I always like starting with agreement. I think I have nothing against a couple things that are said here. First of all, the second whereas clause related to condemning anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-Palestinian, anti-Israeli sentiments. Couldn't agree more, being against hate and against those statements. Section 2, related to the release of hostages, obviously, I would fully support. And I want to say, similar to what President Winkler said, I've always appreciated my colleagues, and Councilman Arthur and I have just had a longer history than Councilwoman Parrish Wright and I have had. And I know he has made some significant changes to this, I think, which move in a better direction. But I do want to be clear that I am doing two things today. Number one, encouraging a vote. I disagree strongly with my colleague, President Winkler, for several reasons, not the least of which, whether I agree or disagree with folks in this room, my colleagues on this issue, it deserves a right to be heard and to be voted on, period, full stop. Okay? Now, I will be voting against it, but the public has a right to know where I stand. The public has a right to know where we all stand. So I'm not calling on, and I would encourage my colleagues on this committee not to table this resolution and to move forward with it. I do want to mention the Ukraine resolution. In retrospect, it was probably a mistake. We have debated for a long time in this chamber about the usefulness of resolutions, and we probably need to think through more generally what the utility of these are. With that said, I do want to draw a differentiation. Ukraine was invaded by a foreign hostile power. Israel was invaded on October the 7th by a foreign outside power. So if I were to support any resolution, it would be in support of the country that was invaded. I disagree with obviously I disagree with some of the specific issues here. Number one, the statement that there's no military solution. I quite simply disagree. There are military solutions to many of the most historic problems that have plagued the world. Not to mention Nazism as an example, World War II, the Civil War, and the beginning of the elimination of slavery in this country was done through war. And unfortunately, speaking from somebody who has been to it, war is hell, period, full stop. I wish it upon nobody. I do not wish it upon the Gaza Strip. I do not wish it upon the country of Israel in any way. But that does not change the reality that the statement that there is no military solution to certain international problems is not historically accurate. My other issue with this statement in general, there is no mention of the terrorist organization Hamas, no mention of them. It's been very clear. There can be peace. Peace will be achieved when hostages are released and when Hamas is no longer the governing body of the Gaza Strip. And I will give you an example of why that is so critical. And I'm going to be reading statements directly from Hamas leadership. Statements by Hamas officials making clear that terrorist organization's commitment to destroying Israel and killing Jews. Ismail Haniyeh in 2020, explaining that Hamas rejects all ceasefire agreements by which, quote, Gaza would become Singapore, referring to remaining at war with Israel until a Palestinian state is established, quote, from the river to the sea. Continuing to quote, we cannot, in exchange for money or projects, give up Palestine and our weapons. We will not give up the resistance. We will not recognize Israel. That is a complete statement, by the way. Continuing the quote, Palestine must stretch from the river to the sea, which means the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. It is Hamas who rejects peace. It is Hamas who rejects a two-state solution. I will also quote Ahmad Abd al-Hadi, the Hamas representative in Lebanon. This is October 12, 2023. Laid out Hamas's expectation that Israel would sue for peace and indicated that ceasefire is part of Hamas's overall strategy. But he was not at liberty to say what exactly Hamas has planned for the next step after a ceasefire, and stated that October 7th had achieved its intended purpose of landing quote, a blow to the normalization of relations between Israel and Arab countries. I believe people when they say words like this. I know we want to believe that everybody respects life the same way your average American respects life, the same way that many of the people here protesting respect life. I can tell you with firsthand knowledge, there are people in this world that do not respect life in that manner. And then I will just then finalize by agreeing with my colleague. We had 4 Louisvillians right down the street murdered this weekend here in Louisville. We have never passed a ceasefire resolution in Louisville. I am so sorry. Credit to Councilwoman Hawkins, who already said this publicly. But the question is why? Because it would be completely useless. It wouldn't do anything to stop the 4 people that were killed this weekend from being killed. The only way to stop them is to reduce homicides, is to arrest people who want to kill others and to put them behind bars. It is that simple. I am encouraging my colleagues not to table this. Everybody, including those here, have a right to know where we stand on this, and I'm encouraging my colleagues to vote no on it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilman.
Shame on you.
Hey,
Shame on you. Shame on you.
if we keep calling out,
Shame on you.
I will cancel the meeting.
Shame on you.
So if you want to keep calling, then we just stop the meeting. Thank you.